welcome to our last episode of On Campus for this semester. I'm Fatima Tamati, and with me are my friends Gerard Duya and Maria Garcia.
Hello.
Are you guys good?
Awesome.
Cool. So our first story tonight is about what's going on in Nepal. The death toll has climbed even more because of the earthquake, which happened on Tuesday. The quake 7.3 magnitude has created more damage to the community. This is the second earthquake in 3 weeks for the country, and now, more than ever, the people of Nepal need help picking up the pieces.
On April 25th killed over 8,000 people and left thousands injured, missing, and homeless. In the wake of the first quake, the people of Nepal were trying to move on and start rebuilding with the help of relief organizations, donations, and outside assistance.
Right now, we've been told by the district hospital that the number of surgical cases are still continues to increase, so there's still a surgical need. However, we've been told that they have adequate health workers on the ground, but what they are missing are supplies, equipment, and medicine. So those are some things that we'll have to look at. We've just distributed some aqua tab to clean water up to the people of this village to make sure that at least the drinking water is clean enough, and we will be repositioning some diarrheal disease kits so that we can respond adequately if we have any diarrheal cases.
Already, 600. The first earthquake, which struck the Himalayan nation on April 25th, killed over 8,000 people.
Well, so sorry about that, you guys. Basically, the story was just about Nepal and the different types of companies and nonprofit organizations that are helping out with the country right now. And some of them included Facebook, LinkedIn, and as well as UNICEF. And just a bunch of different people are just chiming in and helping out and giving money. Facebook's actually matching a lot of people who are liking it on their page, which is awesome, going up to $2 million. So it's an amazing thing happening for a country which is in need more than ever. And we do have a couple tweets I definitely want to get into it before we start talking about it. The first one is from Cat Loveland, and it's, if you have questions as to who you can donate to help Nepal, go to @randomacts.org for a compiled list. We're not going to go through the list, but if you just go to @randomacts.org, you can definitely check it out. And there's also another tweet, and it's just a photo, but it's powerful. It's #SaveNepal and #NepalEarthquake. If you scroll down, you can actually see what it says. So it's really, and you know, it's definitely a tragic thing going on right now, and more so than focusing on what happened. Yes, there were 2 earthquakes. The crazier thing and the more thing that I feel like we should focus on is just how much people are compassionate and empathizing with the people of Nepal. What do you guys think?
So it's a real travesty going on over there. It's good to hear companies like helping out, but then like the rescue efforts it's crazy because sometimes when you want to help, but then you got to think of your own safety too. So I know our military kind of lost a helicopter there already.
Right.
So even though you try to go there quick, you just got to be careful. Same thing with like lifeguards or firemen. You have to assess the risk first before acting. But it sucks because the time is of the essence. They need to save people now. So
Right.
they just have to, do the best they can.
And with the amount of help coming from these companies that are like our new generation, it's funny to think about how we were talking about this earlier, how in 1934, that's when Nepal had their like most impacted earthquake, and with this new generation, this new era that's living, and to experience something that happened in their past, so tragic like this again, it's insane to think how life repeats itself. And in our modern time, like companies like Facebook, how you said that they're doing this foundation where it's if a certain amount of people like something, then they donate that amount of money. I think it's very, I like how 2 and 2 are coming together to help each other, and I hope they do get a lot of help because they deserve it.
Yeah. Sometimes through tragedies, it unites us a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially monsoon season's coming up for them, and 5% of the country has hospitability, like a stable place to stay. So, you know, hopefully they try to build some shelters or something for those who are definitely going to be impacted by the
Like a
monsoon.
big warehouse or something.
Yeah,
Something like that.
just until they figure everything out. But with that being said, speaking of really big companies, 2 huge companies have made headlines since their announcement earlier this week. One is known for their wireless service, and the other made chat rooms all the rage back in the 90s. Gerard, I knew you're passionate about this story. So, like, what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, so Verizon Wireless is buying AOL for $4.4 billion in cash. Not only will Verizon merge with AOL, but also its online media sources like the Huffington Post, TechCrunch, and my favorite, Engadget. This is a huge move for Verizon because the company wants to charge across multiple platforms. But don't worry, our AOL emails aren't going anywhere. Verizon hasn't disclosed what they have in store, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see, you know? We gotta wait and see.
Exactly.
So what's interesting about this merger is, I'm gonna bring something interesting, so the CEO of Apple is getting $180 million out of this deal. Remember when we were kind of talking about like that wage gap between CEO and workers? So it looks like it's, you know, still not going that way, but yeah, it's still there. But we'll see what's going to happen with like how the future of mobile devices or mobile videos are going to go with this merger.
Yeah, it's just like everything is just becoming like a conglomerate. Like everyone's just getting into everything. Time Warner first bought AOL, and everyone thought AOL was like going down, and it's like all about Gmail and all these other web services. But AOL isn't just an email service. There's TechCrunch, like you said, and all these other different websites. And Time Warner got in on the mix, and now Verizon's getting in on the mix. So although we don't know what's going to happen, I feel like it's going to be huge. So I think Verizon's really smart. It's kind of like, well, what about AT&T? What about its other competitors? Like, what are they going to do next to kind of balance out this competition?
It's their ability to extend to different platforms, you know, and touch on more than what they're just known for, like their phone, you know, services and stuff like that. So I think it's scary at the same time to think that bigger businesses could take over other, you know, businesses and just become this whole one centralized thing. But I mean, it's pretty just depending on limitations. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I'll check out this tweet by Oleander. It says that AOL in a big media deal, Clinton running for office, stocks at all-time highs. What's not to love about 2000? Wait. So like you said about you know, in Nepal, how everything's kind of repeating itself. It's kind of repeating itself again here in the tech world, right?
I guess we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
But before we forget, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Last night was American Idol season finale. And I'm sure at some point, speaking of history, we've all watched this show at some point. So Maria, can you let us know the status of this long-running show?
Absolutely. I was actually talking to my friend Susie, and she mentioned that, you know, overall American Idol announced its 14th winner last night. It was 28-year-old Nick Fradini from Connecticut. So now, if you want to be the next American Idol, you better hurry up because auditions are coming up for next year. They will be in their final season, and although the show has produced many other today's top music artists, like Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood, but like all good things, this must come to an end. Due to production cost, it was too high, and the ratings have been steadily decreasing since Randy Paul and Simon left the show a few years back. So it's just, you know, it's ending, unfortunately, but like I said, you can still try out for just one more season, and hopefully you get in. And for all the singers, are any of you two singers?
No, but I tried out too many times already, so I don't want to.
You're done trying out.
Yeah,
There's a limit to that.
It's just crazy. Like, I was 12 when American Idol came out. Like, 2002, from Kelly Clarkson to Clay Aiken, Jordan Sparks. Like, I wasn't a big, like, huge fan of it, but I definitely, like, you know, caught, like,
I definitely read the day after, like whenever a winner was announced, and it's just crazy. It's like an end to an era, and it's literally like paved the way. I know we were talking about this earlier, like paved the way for shows like The Voice and all these other like not game shows, but these talent shows. So, but I know a lot of other, I feel like the majority of people don't really care that it's gone. Because I know we have a tweet, and it says, from Mick Denzel, "Congratulations to American Idol for another forgettable winner. The cancellation of the show is very much deserved. Hashtag American Idol."
Yeah, it says something about a show when like after like the main judges leave and they keep recycling other judges constantly, and so it's like it was on its way down, but it made an impact though. So yeah. So do you have any memorable moments? Yeah, like what?
I really did focus on, or I actually did watch, was the auditions itself. I thought that was hilarious. From good to bad or bad to good, whatever it was. I think that was what really impacted me and what really caught my attention. How about you guys?
Cool.
I love Nicki Minaj, and she was she was a judge, and her and Mariah Carey were judging together, and it was a lot of controversy during that time.
Oh.
And that was like actually a really high rated season, and I think it was because of those two. And it's crazy, like a lot of people didn't really focus on the singers, which is why it's so forgettable.
Yeah.
I think they focus more on judges.
Yeah.
So
That's absolutely right.
maybe it's time for it to be gone.
I'm ready.
And there'll be other shows, other shows people can try out. Like now there's that one show, The Voice, and more to come. So
Totes.
yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So after the break, we have a couple horror stories of what might happen during this year's graduation season, plus the latest on what women really want. We'll catch you up in a bit.
The California Arts Council brings arts to local communities and teaching artists into classrooms. Now Californians can contribute directly to the California Arts Council through their state tax returns. See the Arts Council Fund in the contribution section. If every taxpayer gave $1, there would be $15 million for the arts and arts education. So be creative with your state tax return this year and check off the arts.
We cannot approve the loan until your wife goes back to work. I'm sorry.
Housing discrimination isn't always obvious or straightforward, but it is against the law. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, protects your rights to equal opportunity in housing.
If you've experienced housing discrimination, HUD can help. They can pursue compensation for your injuries and protect your equal opportunity to housing free of discrimination.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you your own boat? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you want this in your favorite lake? Ick. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Welcome back. We have some clips of this year's biggest action movie. This rated R flick already has the critics raving, and it's not even out yet. Maria, what's up with that?
That's right. After 30 years, the Octane action series Mad Max returns to the big screen as Mad Max Fury Road. The movie takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where war has been raging between rival gangs over the water and gasoline. Max and Faricia, I can't say your name right, played by Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, have to fight with and against the gangs to restore order in the wasteland. Mad Max Fury Road is now playing in select theaters with release worldwide tomorrow. And to give you a taste of the intense action you can expect to see, here's a clip from one of the trailers. Take a look.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. And if you look at the big screen, there's actually Rotten Tomatoes. There's a Rotten Tomatoes thing about it. And Rotten Tomatoes is notorious for doing crazy recommendations and what to see. And they gave it a 99%, which is crazy for Rotten Tomatoes. They usually give everything a 2%.
Wow.
They're really really harsh reviews, but this specific movie has seen such good reviews, and I feel like if Rotten Tomatoes is you have to see it, it's gonna be a big deal. And there's also another person, Chris Stuckman, who said George Miller has put the modern action film to shame. Simply put, this is the best action movie I've seen so far from this decade, and his score was an A+. And he's a crazy reviewer too. So just the fact that these people are so into this movie is going to be crazy, and the cast is awesome. Zoe Kravitz, Charlize Theron, who has won an Academy Award, Tom Hardy, who's done Bane. It's just crazy. It's I mean, I don't really know much about Mad Max. I know Mel Gibson was it back in the days, but it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a really, really good movie.
Yeah, so I'm going to read a tweet by Rotten Tomatoes, what we just spoke about. It says, critics' consensus, #Mad Max Fury Road is one of the best action movies of recent memory. So let's check out that picture real quick. Okay, yeah. Cool. Oh man, Charlize looks nuts in this.
Yeah, she's still hot though.
Yeah.
And it's also just for a little fun fact, the original director that made the previous 3 Mad Max movies, actually George Miller, is at the age of 70 came back and made this movie, So, I mean, it's original. And I think that's what a lot of people like, to keep things classic and keep things going the same,
So I'll read one more tweet again. Greatest action movie I've ever seen, completely serious too. So this is from Miles Howard. And I kind of believe the hype also. And what I like about this movie that I've heard thus far is that there's not too much CGI, because I know in movies nowadays they do CGI, computer-aided or computer graphics stuff, but this one is practical effects. The cars are all drivable, it's real, so the stunts are awesome. So I think it's going to be a pretty cool movie to see this weekend if you're.
The actors are actually acting in it.
Yeah, not in front of a green screen, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, on top of all of this, speaking of probably men running around, in very good shape, have you ever had a weird friend that was crushing on your dad? I know you have something to say about this, Gerard. Tell me more about it.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Having the dad bod is what's hot right now. It's been trending for weeks on social media. The dad bod represents the body type of guys who go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, but still enjoy a few beers and have a pizza. We have a clip from Jimmy Fallon a couple nights ago where he kind of weighs in on the topic.
Pro dad bods are defined by their small belly and round, pudgy curves. Con, so basically you're an adult baby.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute.
That's it. That's how you become a dad.
Pro, women think you're sexy. Con, kids think you're Baymax from Big Hero 6. You be sexy.
So there's a couple noteworthy celebs who rock the dad bod, and let's go check out the iPad to see who they are. So let's see right here.
Oh my.
Oh. For some reason, yeah. So as you can see, the dad bod versus the ripped bod. So quick poll. So who are you for right now, Fatima?
Dad. All day.
Dad?
Seth Rogen.
All
He
right.
wins.
What about you, Maria?
I would like to say him, but I mean,
I'm for your him.
But the other one has more of a commitment look, He's want to be tied down.
Yeah, so let's go one more, or a couple more. Let's see. Oops, sorry. There we go. Jason Segel, another poster boy for the dad bod. He doesn't, he doesn't look that bad. It's the definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks healthy. He looks like he eats,
Yep.
Looks like a guy that can take me out to a good dinner.
See, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was getting. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So there's Leo DiCaprio, rocking the dad bod at 40 years old.
Yeah,
awesome.
He looks like he has money too,
Yeah.
Living the good life.
I love that none of these, well, minus Seth Rogen, they're not dads.
One more Seth Rogen for Fatima right here.
Yay! Best dad bod ever.
Yeah. So that's what one of my thoughts is, that it seems like maybe the the younger girls might be after the guys who have the ripped bods, but then maybe the older girls are seeing something different. They have a different perspective where it's like, well, if he's a little chubbier, it means like he's eating a lot, so maybe he could take me out to eat or take care of me, or I don't know. And you mentioned earlier about personality, so it might be, that might, you know, more than the ripped bod itself.
Well, I think also, like, as you get older, you have a more realistic expectation. Not everyone's gonna look like Zac Efron, you know, and it's fine. That's okay, as long as you're happy and committed and you have a good personality, it shouldn't matter. And it's actually been pretty controversial. It's even like going to Twitter, and we have a tweet saying, "I am getting a lot of backlash from the dad bod backlash. I just want men and women to be held to the same standard." And I think that's true. Like, you know, if a woman can, if a man wants to look like Leonardo DiCaprio, then a woman should look the way she wants. You don't have to look one way or the other. So I think it's great that so many people are more accepting, regardless, because it's like body image is so huge right now. And a lot of people are going for like really unrealistic expectations at, you know, super unhealthy ways. So just the fact that people are embracing it and not necessarily like being discriminatory toward a dad bod is great. So.
And to add to that controversy, there's actually, you know, I'm sure you're aware of this too, where it's a dad bod is accepted in artists or celebrities or things like that, or as opposed to a typical Joe, where as Dad Bod Central posts on Twitter, with great body here, work out for 15 minutes in living room and then hit the lake all day and have 20 beers, hashtag dad bod.
And what's the picture?
Look at that, you know? So, I mean, it all varies. And is it really, do you think it's more of a stereotype where it's, you know, celebrities get more of the applaud for it?
Yeah, because sometimes if you're a celebrity, your mindset would be like, they can do no wrong. But the thing is, everyone's into something, so if you're a certain way, someone's going to enjoy that somewhere, you know, down the line. Yeah.
Well, it seems like students at a Southern California college are being told to strip down in order to get an A letter grade. Did I hear that right, Fatima? Or?
Yes, actually, unfortunately, you did. So last week, it was brought to the public's attention that in order to pass a visual arts class at UC San Diego, students would have to get nude. A mother to one of the students filed a complaint against the teacher, calling the final a perversion. We actually have some dialogue from the teacher and the distressed mother.
It is all very controlled. If they are uncomfortable with this gesture, they should not take the class.
Students are aware from the start of the class that it is a requirement and that they can do the gesture in any number of ways without actually having to remove their clothes.
Nothing was ever stipulated prior to Thursday. There's a perversion going on here. Shame on him and shame on the university.
The school wanted to state that it is not a required class, and within the last 11 years since the class started, this was the first complaint. Oh boy. So that's crazy. I mean, I'm all for art and freedom of expression, but there's just some things I feel like a teacher should not expect of a student. One is to showcase their body.
I mean, it was accepted by the school. I'm sure they have their, you know, regulations. I'm sure there's a reason to it.
Right.
But the only thing that it's a little tricky to understand is that the professor himself is also he's gonna walk in naked too. Like, how do you look at that? Like, it's hard enough to stare at your professor as it is, where it's like, you see everything. It's a very awkward situation for students. Yeah.
My thing is, like, does he have a dad bod? Like, what are you doing?
Kudos to you on that. So my thoughts are, well, if it's in the syllabus and that class has been going on for a while, no one has complained before. He hasn't done any real specific incidents where he did something to the students or something like that, and it's not part of the core curriculum either, and it's an elective. So I'm gonna side with the professor a little bit, but the thing is, with me saying that, I still think though that his motives are very questionable. Very questionable. Actually, I think he's permanent on him. But the thing is, legally, I don't know.
But I think when there's a type of art that enhances like your nude body or just, you know,
Yeah.
your body itself. And I feel like it's a very prestigious and really elegant time in art. And I mean, if they're taking that course and they saw it coming, like.
Yeah, I want to know the demographic of that class, if it's mostly guys or girls, or I don't know. I need to know
that is
more. I don't know.
Yeah, and actually there's a tweet.
There's like 3 girls and all guys trying to.
Yeah, see?
Right?
See?
Gross.
See?
I don't know, but we actually have a tweet about this, and it's from Wink Martindale, and he has actually a blue check mark, so I'm sure he has a bunch of followers. He says, what? UC San Diego arts class requires a nude final exam. In parentheses, the class is not a graduation requirement. Oh, really? Was I born too soon? So that's just one take on it, but it's a very interesting perspective on the education system. But speaking of education and school, if you think you had a crazy, unforgettable graduation ceremony, the students at this school have one that takes the cake. Gerard or Maria, which one of you want to talk about it?
Okay, I could read this. The principal of TNT Academy went viral after her racist comment at a graduation ceremony. Principal Nancy Gerduke admits it was her fault for releasing the graduates early before remembering she skipped an honor student speech. She soon lost her cool and began to yell out at the audience that were rude for leaving. As a couple of members from the crowd arose, she yelled out in quote, "Look who's leaving, all the black people." And since then, the video has been in a bunch of controversy. To back herself up in an interview, this is what she had to say.
I'm sorry this has gotten all blown out of proportion because just part of the video is being seen and not the whole. I told my husband it didn't even sound like me or feel like me even saying it. I'd like them to know that I apologize to everyone in attendance there. I'm sorry for what I said. Like I said, the devil was in the house.
As of today, Georgia's NAACP President Francis Johnson confirmed that Nancy Gerduke has now been released, and here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The devil came out of me. I mean, that is just some excuse, right? I mean, I wish I can get away with a lot of things, but I'm glad they released her to finally, you know, define that it's not right, you know? I was actually talking to a professor about this issue earlier, and he actually said that sometimes people are racist behind closed doors, that when you're agitated, when a moment comes up, you just blurt things out, and that's when the true colors come out. And so, I mean, this lady might not be, you know, racist in public all the time, but behind doors, you never know.
Yeah, and I think, like, when she's blaming the devil and whatnot, that's, like, so convenient for, you know, these ultra-religious people sometimes. They just, oh, well, it's the devil, not me.
Right.
You know,
and
so.
It's ironic because the graduation seems to be in a church, you know, so.
How
and
crazy
it wasn't
is that?
just African-American students.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see that something that, you know, the civil rights movement was, you know, happened because there was so much, like, perpetual racism and stereotypes and all these things. And I feel like it's kind of like what you said way earlier in the show, like history is repeating itself, unfortunately, in this too. I feel like a lot of people are coming out. There's a lot of things going on, especially within African-American communities all over the U.S., which is unfortunate. Luckily, this was rectified with the NAACP getting involved, and I think that's great. You know, we shouldn't pinpoint one specific group when it's not a specific group's fault, you know?
I'm glad that they did call her to attention, you know? Like the tweet says, you know, from Hijab Princess, well, Nancy Gerduke is gonna be out of a job, bye, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Hashtag TNT Academy.
Good, she has time for anger management, man. Shoot, what the heck?
She does, yeah.
Right?
Hopefully morals, you know? She studies some of that.
Yeah.
It is just ridiculous.
She's an educator, and then, you know, I mean, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is also human, so you have your personal opinions. So.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, there's one more thing we're going to show, but that's our show for tonight. And I had a great time with the entire on-campus group, and I wish the best for the rest of the team. Before we go, though, there's one more thing we're going to show. Peace and love.
I'm Justin Peraza.
I'm your host, Fatima Tamati.
I'm your host, Gerard Duya.
I came to dance, 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 dance. I hit the floor cause that's my plans.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Give me some space for both my hands. Yeah, cause it goes on.